Thank you all so much for being in person today. I know it's not easy. I know some of you have very long drives. I also know you work, you have kids. So thank you for making the trip out here. That's huge to me. We also, of course, have people joining us on Zoom. Once again, for the sports session, we had over 1,000 attendees or signups for it. So very excited to have kind of this hybrid schedule. And of course, we'll have the recording as well to look back on. But we have really good content today because so often I'm asked when someone joins Remon, what product line do I use? When do I even start and where do I start? And so this gives you a really good outline of understanding what product line, not only for you to use, but also for you to suggest to someone else. And it's largely based on their skin type. That's kind of the first and foremost thing I always look into when someone emails me wondering how they can get started with Remon. After that, and after this session, we'll then go into a product demo. So we're going to go through the entire expert Remon ritual with our marketing coordinator, Ms. Kelsey. So you'll get to see kind of some key highlights of each ingredient, each product, and see how we tend to kind of say how to apply them as well. So. Alrighty, so as I had mentioned, the most important thing about, Kelsey, will you hit okay on the, you'll have to move the mouse over here. Okay. Sorry, guys. So one of the most important things when beginning a new skincare routine is understanding what your skin type is. At the bottom of it, if you have sensitive skin, I will say to immediately go with the Dermatology EX products, that booster, the serum, and the active cream. That's going to have our giant young pool leaf. It's going to be very soothing to sensitive or inflammatory skin types. Beyond that, if perhaps you don't have sensitive skin, then you might still be stuck between deciding what is right for you. So oftentimes that is looking towards the various different skin types you can have. These skin types are based on the oil or sebum content that your skin naturally produces. To define this, what people often recommend is that you wash your face, put nothing on it, sit for 30 minutes, and then assess your face. If there is oil on your T-zone or even all over, you have oily or combination skin. Typically, combination will only have the oil formation on your nose and on your forehead as well. Oilier skin in general can even have it come on the cheeks and the chin as well. So in the variety of different skin types you can see here, I actually differentiated between the top two, dry and dehydrated. Now, dehydrated skin is not necessarily a thing that's often talked about, but I think it's important because we're looking at different ingredients and different product types. We want to make sure we're addressing the right concern. Dry skin is skin that is lacking oil content. It's lacking moisture. It's going to have the similar aesthetic concerns of dehydrated skin. So you're going to have duller skin, perhaps flaking, scaling, general dryness that you can literally perceive. On the other hand, dehydrated skin is when your skin is lacking water content. And that's what really differentiates between the two, is because with dry skin, you'll likely want oil-rich products. With dehydrated skin, water-rich products might be what's for you. However, as you can see, with dry skin and dehydrated skin, you're both going to have the similar aesthetic concerns of dryness, of scaling, and otherwise dull skin. Next, of course, we have oily skin as well. And so oily, as I mentioned, is going to look quite literally greasy, unfortunately, for lack of a better word. It's going to look quite luminous, quite radiant, even after immediately having washed your face. Oftentimes, those with oilier skin types are also more acne prone. Of course, this comes in contact with a couple of other key values. If your microbiome's imbalanced, if you otherwise perhaps didn't have previous hygiene practices, that too might lend towards being more acne prone. The fourth combination skin type is also huge because it's difficult to combat a skin type that has multiple different biomes, for lack of a better word. You know, you have that oil content on your nose and on your forehead, but perhaps you have dryness on your cheeks and chin. And so this is where you're kind of looking towards that hybrid skincare in kind. You want something that brings in hydration, brings in moisture, but not excessively to create excess oil on your nose and on your forehead as well. So in terms of combination, you really are looking at that radiance or that greasiness, particularly on the T-zone. Last, of course, we have normal and meosensitive. Normal skin types are simply that. They are normal. So they're going to have the perfect balance of moisturization and of hydration, little to no blemishes, little to no redness or inflammation, just as even skin tone is really normal skin. Also comfortable skin as well. Lastly, sensitive. Now, sensitive can be within a variety of these other skin types. You can have oily and sensitive, dry and sensitive, But sensitive often means that there is a sudden onset of inflammation upon the application of a variety of different products. There are oftentimes products that are extremely aggressive that can extremely irritate sensitive skin, but there's other things that are meant to be gentle and can still perchance irritate sensitive skin. So sensitive skin is finicky in that regard. And so you want to make sure you approach it with caution and almost with respect. For lack of a better word, with sensitive skin, it's a lot of trials, it's a lot of tribulations, but it's understanding what works best by trying out these different products. Yeah, would you? Yeah, sorry.
We have, excuse me, we have some Chinese speaking, so we're just wondering. They don't speak English at all.
Oh, okay.
So do you allow someone to translate?
Unfortunately, because we're also live broadcasting this, yeah, I'm so sorry, but afterwards we can definitely go into it a bit more.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry about that. So with that in mind, when we finally come to the comparison of the two product lines, of course, you have Dermatology EX and we have Radianceum 100. These ingredients on their own and these products on their own are vastly beautiful in their own right, but they do suit certain skin types. So when we start with the Dermatology EX line, that's going to be much more water rich. That's going to be, of course, for sensitive skin, dehydrated skin, even oily skin, because it's not going to bring in more oil content to that skin. This is also quickly absorbing because it is so water rich. I mean, we have the highest concentration of that young pea leaf extract. Just a reminder, the booster has 88% of it, the serum 81%, and the active cream 57%. So you're really getting that hydration and you're also getting that quick absorption. So some people who do prefer both lines will use this line in the morning because it lays well under makeup as well. With that in mind, it really applies to all skin types, but there are certain instances in which a skin type might just need more oil, something that the Dermatology EX line is not providing for them. And that's when we turn to the Radianceum 100 line. So the Radianceum 100 line is much more oil rich. As you may know, it's 100% liposomal. And so we need that oil content to maintain the stability of those formulas. Of course, also because this is our more advanced line, that oil content really works well with the specific ingredients included in that line. So we're looking more towards kind of that luxurious and emollient feel to the skin and much more slow absorption in the same regard because of that high oil load. In this status, so to speak, I typically do not recommend this line for anyone with sensitive skin types. Of course, you are unique in your skin and it actually might work for you even if you have sensitive skin types. But for those initially starting out with Remon and wanting to see the difference with Remon, I try to push them towards what immediately will bring them success. And so that'd be the Dermatology EX line. For many other skin types, for dry skin, especially lacking that oil, mature skin, even combination and normal may find benefit now with the Radianceum 100 line in comparison to the Dermatology EX line. And one important thing to note about both lines is that they have overlapping and synergistic benefits as well. Many people, when they go to the Radianceum 100 line, is because they're looking to reduce hyperpigmentation or address fine lines and wrinkles. You can still do that with the Dermatology EX line. Yes, we are focusing on hydration with the Dermatology EX line, but there are many different complexes within that line that can also help reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, help support elasticity, and even reduce hyperpigmentation. I mean, our main ingredient, that giant young pool, has tested benefits in reducing hyperpigmentation right off the bat. All right, so when we come to appreciate Insulderm and all its various skincare offerings, as I always like to reinforce, we believe K-beauty to be fundamental. It is fundamental, but we want to make sure it's not complex. So as people are navigating to find which products are right for them, which sets are right for them, I always take them first to those basic tenets of K-beauty, of cleansing, hydrating, and protecting. Your cleansing offerings for either appreciating the Radianceum 100 line or the Dermatology EX line are exactly the same. It's these three cleansers here. So you're covered in that regard. That's an easy choice. It's just looking at these various products here. Within Hydrate, of course, then we go towards either the Dermatology EX products or the Radianceum 100 toner, ampule, and cream. And then, of course, Protect in the most traditional sense is about UV protection, basically locking in what you've done for your skin and keeping away any outside irritants. But Beyond that, I always talk about protection in terms of your skin barrier, your skin's innate protection. This is something that can be easily reinforced by, once again, moisturizing oils and maintaining rather your water content as well. So appreciating Radiant Sun and Dermatology EX on their own is fantastic, but also do not get overwhelmed by choosing between them. They both comply with this basic concept of K-beauty, this approach to hydration and to moisturization. So as I mentioned with Dermatology EX, this is our signature line. This is what brought us to #1 as a K-beauty brand in direct selling in Korea, and it does focus on hydration as a means of obtaining skin radiance. This line has the highest concentration of our giant vegetable leaf extract among a variety of other ingredients, patented ingredients, and proprietary complexes at that. But this is mainly going to be focusing on gently just reinforcing the health of your skin. Of course, with these products, they've also all been Derma tested. This German Derma test is a more stringent safety testing for applicability to sensitive skin types. And so I think, again, that reinforces the application of these products for sensitive or easily inflamed skin. But it's also an opportunity for everyone to utilize this line as well. I think it's often the line I most often recommend for those just starting out with Raymond, especially those who aren't too sure of their skin type or of their skincare goals. That's good. So when we finally come to appreciate the booster and the serum, close up, really looking and breaking down what they do for your skin. Again, as I mentioned, they're extremely high in that Byungpool leaf water content. And so that giant Byungpool brings in anti-hyperpigmentation, fine line wrinkle reduction, but it also has antioxidant care with those high polyphenol content. Beyond that, we also have what's called a Spiraceous crispa extract. Specifically, Spiraceous crispa is a mushroom extract, and it's going to reinforce your skin's vitality by essentially introducing valuable nutrients to the skin. Lastly, we have a 17 amino acid complex. For many of you may know that amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, and so this gives your skin the necessary tools to synthesize a variety of necessary metabolites for its general skin health and cellular function. And so you also may know with utilizing these products, they're done in what's called boo-say-boo, in which you booster, you allow it to absorb, you do a couple of drops of serum, and then you go back in with the booster. The reason we recommend you do that is because the booster and the serum are both extremely high in that giant Byungpool leaf water content. Water's natural behavior is to evaporate. So as you're applying these products, some of it is depositing onto your face, but some of it is indeed evaporating. And so we essentially ensure you're saturating your skin with these ingredients while still allowing for that natural behavior of water to evaporate as well. And so after you boo-say-boo with the Dermatology EX line, you would then go into the active cream. So with the active cream, as I mentioned, there are so many other key ingredients in here that go beyond just hydrating the skin and treating sensitive skin specifically. So again, we still have that giant Byungpool leaf extract, but we also have two botanical complexes, and they're called EasyCalm6 and the MVP complex. So both of these are essentially botanical or extracts that have been aged for a certain number of days to bring in benefits to the skin. Specifically with the EasyCalm6 complex, it's going to bring in elasticity and antioxidant care. And of course, with MVP complex, same thing there as well, elasticity and radiance. And I'll remind you, so much of what we're looking for in regards to anti-aging does come from antioxidants and maintaining those antioxidants. When you have reactive oxygen species in your skin, they can cause a variety of different skin concerns. They can break down your collagen and elastin, they can create hyperpigmentation, and they can also create permanent redness beyond typical sunburns or whatever you may see. So oftentimes, if you see an ingredient deck full of just different antioxidants, that is a good thing. That's going to really make sure your skin is protected from the variety of different oxidative species we frankly create every single day just by living outside or just being essentially in a city or even based on whatever environmental exposures you might be coming into. Thank you. On the other hand, Radiant Sun 100. So the 100, as I mentioned, stands for 100% liposomal. And liposomes were initially introduced in the pharmaceutical industry as a mechanism of enhancing the absorption of topical drugs to the skin. Like many things, it was later adopted by the cosmetic industry. But specifically with the microfluidizer processor, which is what we use, it is still traditionally only used by the pharmaceutical industry and still typically on an ingredient by ingredient basis. To create an entire formula with a microfluidizer processor is extremely costly and it's very difficult to create a stable formula. However, of course, you're seeing exactly that right here. And so Remon committed that time and that money to find out how to create an efficacious, safe, but otherwise robust formula with 100% liposomes. And so in that regard, as I had mentioned, these products are going to be much more oil rich. The oil makes up that liposome. It's really going to keep them intact and allow them to penetrate the skin. And so with that in mind, the ingredients here are focused on many different things. We have our Vita complex, which is many different vitamins. We have antioxidants once again, and we also have ingredients that help stimulate your fibroblasts, which are the cell types that create collagen and elastin. So with this line and the appreciation of the toner, the ampule, and the cream, just remember this is going to be much more emollient. Sometimes if you prefer to just use it at night, or even just use one of the products and otherwise use the Dermatology EX products, all of that is absolutely fine because ultimately the right Remon ritual is the Remon ritual that's right for you. All right, and so with liposomes in mind, they are specifically microscopic spherical molecules. They have both oil soluble and water soluble environments, so to speak. And so what's nice about these liposomes specifically is that their phospholipid bilayer, essentially what creates this circle, mimics our cell layer as well. So it looks very similar to the phospholipid layer of our stratum corneum. This helps these liposomes be easily uptaken by your cells. And so what's important about utilizing liposomes is that it allows for not only enhanced absorption, but targeted efficacy. If you are trying to reduce hyperpigmentation and you have an ingredient that does so, the liposome will be able to bring that ingredient towards your melanocytes, which are the cell types that create melanin or pigment, or otherwise inhibit the melanogenesis pathway, such that you're accurately actually getting towards that hyperpigmentation and towards reducing that dark spot as well. All right, and so specifically with our utilization of the microfluidizer processor, as I had mentioned, this is very novel. This is something still typically used by the pharmaceutical industry. But what we do is we start with our initial media, as you can see cartoonishly depicted at the top, and we run it through that microfluidizer processor. Now, the processor is based on a physics principle known as Bernoulli's principle. I hated physics, I cried, that's the only class I cried about, so don't understand it too much, but what basically happens is when you rapidly decrease pressure, there's a rapid increase in the velocity or the speed of the molecules of the starting medium. So as it is going through this microfluidizer processor and it's drastically dropped in pressure in terms of that machine, all of a sudden all of that media and all those molecules in that starting media begin to speed up through the machine. And so as it speeds up, it hits what's called the cavitation center. This cavitation center has a specific geometry that forces those molecules to hit each other, to hit the wall at a very rapid rate. This forces those molecules into those liposomes. So what you get is an output of nanomaterials. And as you can see here, one nanoliposome is 1/350th the size of a human hair. Extremely, extremely small and extremely able to absorb into the skin as well. And so with the radiance ingredients, we already went through the Dermatology EX key ingredients. So the main radiance ingredients here are RK Snowflake, Vitasum, Collagenere, Pancratium erythemum extract, and of course sunflower extract. So first and foremost, that RK Snowflake is actually a natural plant extract, and it's mainly an antioxidant. It's a specific antioxidant that has efficacy in as little as a week upon application, consistent application. But beyond that, our Vita complex, I think, is extremely important. One of the questions I get asked probably most often is, where can I get vitamin C in the formulas? Or can I still use my vitamin C serum with a starting Remon? So within this Vita complex, there is actually vitamin C. There's vitamin C, vitamin B3 or niacinamide, vitamin B5, vitamin P or hesperidin, and vitamin E or tocopherol. All of these vitamins, except one of them, are all antioxidants, and they have synergistic and overlapping benefits as antioxidants. One of these vitamins actually act as a humectant. It actually attracts water to the skin for hydration of the skin. Collagen is that third ingredient, and this is actually a patented complex for us. The other two previously were exclusive in the sense that they are made by a raw material supplier, but they only sell it to us for our formula. This patented complex is mainly for maintaining skin's elasticity and dermal support. Collagen actually is also a natural extract, and it focuses on not only antioxidant care, but it has peptides that are very similar to the natural amino acid sequence of our collagen and elastin. So depositing these onto the skin help maintain not only moisturization, antioxidant care, but also encourage fruitful environments for maintaining collagen and elastin stores as well. This pancreatic erythema extract is another brightening agent, of course, that is ingredients of name, ingredients. And then last but not least, sunflower extract is crucial in the industry. I've seen it in so many different instances, but again, it is rich in vitamin E, and it also is what's maintaining the stability of those liposomes. All right, so another huge question I get when considering the two different product lines is why isn't Dermatology EX 100% liposomal? If we know that it so quickly enhances the absorption of the Radiance 100 line, why wouldn't we apply that to the Dermatology EX line? Fantastic question in that, but there are also a variety of different considerations, specifically at the formulation level, for when to use liposomes and when to avoid them. First and foremost, it's going to be texture and compatibility and application. So the Dermatology EX line, as I've said quite often, is so water rich. The water acts as a beneficial carrier for the water-based ingredients in these systems. Many of the ingredients included in the Dermatology EX lines are water soluble. So the water acts as a sufficient carrier for the absorption of these products into the skin. Versus the the Radiance 100 line, because it is so oil rich and because many of these ingredients are oil soluble, it needs those liposomes to make sure they absorb through the skin. Typically, oil droplets are extremely large in size. It's very difficult to get past the stratum corneum or your skin barrier. So the liposomes really help the accurate deposition of these ingredients into the skin. Furthermore, ingredient compatibility as well. So some active ingredients work synergistically with liposomes. Others, they will be hindered in their benefits if liposomes were introduced. Most importantly, throughout this as well, is that the Dermatology EX line is meant to feel that water rich. It's meant to feel hydrating and quickly absorbing. With the introduction of liposomes, it will actually weigh down the formulation, would give a much more robust feel, but also a thicker feel at the same time. And that was not the design for these products. We want them to be lightweight, to be quickly absorbing. However, with the Radiance 100 line, because it is so luxurious, so emollient, it works perfectly for that story. So when we look at the utilization of liposomes, we're looking at the maximization of efficacy of an ingredient based on its absorption, but also the maximization of formula texture and application. And in that regard, the Dermatology EX line was perfect on its own without the liposomes. All right, so we're going to finish off, of course, with appreciating both lines. For those that are able to use both lines, that their skin works well with both, we typically see many people use Dermatology EX in the morning, and then they'll apply Radiance 100 at night. Because Radiance 100 is more slowly absorbing, that gives the skin time to really pick up everything that you've put on it. Because you're not messing with your face, you're not eating or wiping your face, you're not applying makeup on top of it. That's not to say that you can't use Radiance 100 twice a day should you choose. It's to each their own. But if you are looking to incorporate both lines, we typically recommend Dermatology EX in the morning, Radiance 100 at night. The other possibility is, this is something I often suggest for those trying to transition to Radiance 100, is adding a Radiance 100 product to the Expert or the Essential Remodel Ritual. So, for example, we have here the Expert Remodel Ritual steps. After you would boo, you would just add in either the toner or the ampule for the Radiance 100 line and finish off with your active cream. That's a great way to begin to introduce the Radiance 100 products to see if they're right for your skin, or perhaps you'll always stick to that because that gives you just enough moisturization without being over moisturizing for your skin type. So again, many different ways to experiment. I invite you to find which way is right for you, but ultimately there are a couple of different choices. All right, and so that's it for today's discussion. Of course, we did create a worksheet for this. I think this is a very beneficial worksheet to have, even for those that didn't attend Product University, because it goes through the different skin types. It goes through the comparison of the two product lines. So for anyone starting out with Remon and you perhaps don't even have the time to explain it, you can always send this to them so they can make an educated decision as well. For those on Zoom, we are also dropping the link in the chat, so you can always access that on the drive as well. Wait a little bit. All right, and so just a reminder that we are doing a Q&A session on the session 7, I believe. So it's going to be February 19th, again at 6 p.m. PT. We do it a little bit differently with the Q&A session that we ask you pre-send your questions. And this just gives me time to really work through a thorough answer and to collaborate with HQ if necessary. So that'll be completely on Zoom. It won't be in person, but I encourage you to send your questions to ritual@remon.com. And ritual@remon.com does not exist only for Product University questions. Please ask me any questions there. If you have someone that's experiencing adverse reactions to the products, if you have an inquiry about a specific ingredient, I am there to help you. So please utilize that email as a resource. All right, so for those of you watching on Zoom at home, that was the end of this session of Product University. You are more than welcome to stay on because we're going to go through a step of the Install Derm product application. But now, excuse me, gosh. But of course, that is also enough for the Product University. No, I have proof. Oh, well, I have flip charts. Yeah. That being said, anyone watching at on home, oh my gosh, on Zoom at home, you still get credit if you want to end the call here. I know it is late, but otherwise we are now going to go into the product demo. And to help me with it is none other than the marketing coordinator, Miss Kelsey. So I'm going to invite her up. Also, for those of you that do choose to stick around and watch this demo, and perhaps you want to see the application versus the flip chart slides, all you'll do is go to the right-hand corner of the little box and just click Spotlight. And so that'll spotlight me standing here with Kelsey instead of the flip chart slides. All right, so Kelsey's here before us. She's fantastic. She's behind many different campaigns and promotions you've seen before. But she has been kind enough to volunteer her face to step us through each of the products and the expert Remon ritual. And so, of course, we start with the Pure Cell Cleansing Oil. So the Pure Cell Cleansing Oil is the first step to double cleansing. For many of you, double cleansing is something you may know of. For those that do not know it, it's essentially utilizing an oil-based cleanser to dissolve oil-based impurities and following it with a water-based cleanser. Now, this formulation, 75% of it is entirely natural oils. That's really going to break down these oil-based impurities on the skin, like makeup, SPF, or even just sebum that has built up throughout the day. That being said as well, we also have a couple of other proprietary ingredients, and our first is going to be our Berry Flux Vita. Now, Berry Flux Vita, is actually from raspberry stem cells that maintain skin elasticity. We also have black cumin seed oil and jojoba oil, which beyond being oils, they have additional benefits for the skin. Black cumin is known to be an antibacterial oil, really helping with clearing out any bacteria clogged in the pores. And that jojoba oil is just fantastic for maintaining skin moisture. So exactly as Kelsey had just done it, you'll go in with dry hands and a dry face. Massage in gently. And you want to be sure to be gentle around your eyes as well. I know it even gets off waterproof makeup. I wear this crazy eyeliner every single day, and it does that. But you want to make sure you're not tugging at your eyes because that can introduce wrinkles over time. So she has just cleansed with the double cleanser. Another important thing to note is that cannot be the only cleanser you use. Anytime you're using an oil-based cleanser, and because this is such a high oil content, you need to go in with a water-based cleanser to dissolve to dissolve any residual oils left on the skin. So she, of course, already pulled up our snow enzyme cleanser. Okay, we're just having a little delay. Yeah, I got it. So our snow enzyme cleanser is our more hydrating cleanser. This is going to really focus on picking up those residual oils, any dead skin cells that are stubborn and didn't remove themselves rather. And specifically with treating those dead skin cells, we have both papain and bromelain. These are naturally derived fruit enzymes that are going to lightly break down keratin, Essentially, it's going to break down the bonds that are keeping dead skin cells adhered to the surface of the skin. But beyond that, we also have our propolis biosome complex. So this complex actually maintains, again, moisturization and elasticity, which is huge when you're cleansing because oftentimes when you're cleansing, it's a very stripping experience. So this ingredient really helps maintain that moisture. Lastly, of course, we have our camellia seed extract, something you'll see across the product lines. It's fantastic, again, for its moisturizing capabilities. And so exactly as Kelsey had done it, your face can actually be wet if you just rinsed off the Pure Cell Cleansing Oil, or it can be dry. You go in with a healthy dollop of the Snow Enzyme Cleanser, massage it into the face for roughly 20 to 30 seconds, and rinse off. That's all you need. Now, as she's rinsing that off, I'll go over into our active cleanup powder. So I'm not going to make her do all 3 cleansers today. We also recommend that you don't do 3 cleansers. I'll sometimes get emails where someone goes through the Pure Cell Cleansing Oil and the Snow Enzyme and the active cleanup. That can be too much for your skin. That could easily overstrip your skin. So when you use the Pure Cell Cleansing Oil, that's always going to be your first option. But when you're going in for your water-based cleanser, if you have sensitive skin, it's almost always going to be the Snow Enzyme Cleanser next. If you're wanting more exfoliation and you do have sensitive skin, then you would swap out the Snow Enzyme Cleanser for the active cleanup powder maybe once to twice a week. For those that have more robust skin types, combination or normal, you can do that swap 2 to 3 times a week. And those with oily skin types, I know actually use this as their sole water-based cleanser. So that's really important understanding cleansing first and foremost, because I see the most errors within the cleansing routine of an individual that can otherwise present itself as a variety of other aesthetic concerns beyond just the cleansing. It can present as irritation upon the application of the next product. And so we want to make sure that your cleansing is secure. So as she takes a breather, we'll go through the active cleanup powder. So the active cleanup powder also does have papain, again, that enzyme that's going to really help remove dead skin cells. But we also have asparagus and oat extract. Okay, so both the asparagus and the oat stem extract are going to be very conditioning for the skin because we're introducing a micro powder, and of course that has the pain. It's also sub-acidic. It's our exfoliating cleanser. So we want to have some conditioning ingredients so that you're not stripping the skin once again. And there are some individuals, especially sensitive skin types, that do find their skin to feel stripped after using that. Totally okay. Just go with the Snow Enzyme Cleanser then as your second step instead. So now we got the cleansing out of the way. It's time to hydrate. So Kelsey's next step will be, of course, the biotin oil mist. So what's most important about utilizing this product is shaking it. You don't want a straight line of just water or just oil misted onto your face. This is meant to be a dual-phased mist. You're supposed to be able to visualize those 2 layers. That oil layer is going to treat moisturization of the skin. That water layer, hydration. And as I had said, when differentiating between dry and dehydrated skin, those are different. You're looking towards the oil content versus the water content, specifically of your skin barrier, that topmost layer of skin. So within this product, we of course have sea berry water within the water layer that's rich in vitamin C and vitamin E. But then also in the oil layer, we have that camellia seed extract, which gives the mist a nice scent as well, a natural scent. And so exactly as she did it, once we've cleansed, you want to bring in some of that hydration. So just shake the bottle, mist your face sufficiently, and then utilize as necessary throughout the day as well, especially if you're wanting more hydration to the skin. The other thing I will mention with this product, because of that oil load, also something I would avoid at first for sensitive skin types. It's always something you can introduce later. If their skin fares well with the booster, the serum, and the active cream, you can always introduce the biotin oil mist later after that. But next, for the expert we want ritual, of course, is the Calming Balance Gel. Cool. So the Calming Balance Gel, again, is just working to reinforce the skin's hydration and balance before we go in with the key players in this product line. And so this is a water-based gel, and it focuses mainly on damask rose water. It's going to be extremely calming because of that damask rose, which also has a lot of different nutrients. So it's going to reinforce that balance, so to speak, for lack of a better word for the Calming Balance Gel. But with that in mind, we also have 8-layer hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is a humectant. It is well known in the industry. It is fantastic for maintaining hydration of the skin. 8 layers specifically means that we have low to high molecular weights of hyaluronic acid in this complex. The low molecular weights, those smaller molecules, are going to go a couple layers deeper. The larger molecules are going to be more surface active, but you're really just getting hydration at every layer. Lastly, we have that gold, which is actually not superfluous. It is adding to the formula in that it's able to enhance the absorption of other ingredients in the product. And now, of course, we get to our Boo Say Boo. So we just talked all about these products within that, that product university. But what's most important with these products is allowing them to absorb between each step. I know a lot of us do not have time in the morning to wait for our skin to dry down between each step. So introducing a fan or even just skipping one of the boos and just doing Boo Say, whatever works for you. So Kelsey's gonna do the full thing right in front of you, and we're gonna sit here and wait for it to absorb. No. So she's gonna go in with 3 to 4 sprays of the booster spray first. It's going to, of course, bring in hydration, bring in the giant pimple pool. We're gonna allow that to absorb, and then you can go in with the serum. Just know that you should be absorbing, but just for time's sake, she'll go in next to the serum. Just 3 to 4 drops is all you really need. And again, both of these products are very similar. This one's completely water thin. This one's somewhat thin. It's a serum, really working together just to saturate the skin with the same ingredients. They really only vary in their formulation builders. Okay, and then next she'll go in with that second spray of the booster as well. And I also know people in Korea that keep going. They'll do another thing of serum, they'll do another round of booster, they'll keep going. So whichever thing sounds right to you. I don't know necessarily if you get more or less benefit from keeping on and boo say booing the rest of your life. But specifically boo say boo is what we've seen have efficacy for the skin. And so, of course, then we'll finish off with that active cream. And so the active cream is actually my favorite product. It's also our #1 bestseller. It was the #1 selling moisturizer at all in Korea for a period of time, in South Korea, both in direct sales and outside of it as well. So this cream is going to, of course, have 57% of that young leaf extract. It's very water rich, but it's a moisturizer. So it is going to have some oil content. And that's what I mean specifically for combination or normal skin. That may be just enough, the perfect balance of hydration and moisturization to appease the skin. If you need more of that hydration or of that moisturization, you can look towards the Viva products or ultimately the Radiance 100 products as well. So what she's doing is perfect. She's bringing it onto her face, but also taking it down her neck. Your neck and your décolleté age as well. You want to make sure that if you have any leftover product, that you're fully bringing it down the rest of your neck and your décolleté as well, or your chest. And last but not least, of course, would be her protect step. So I'm not going to make her put sunscreen on at 7 o'clock at night, but this sunscreen is fantastic because Korean beauty, K-beauty is well known for its sunscreens. In Korea, sunscreens are regulated and formulated as cosmetics. You can use whatever ingredient you want, and they're focusing in on the feel and the aesthetic finish of these formulas. In the US, sunscreens are a drug. They're strictly regulated by the FDA, and there are only 12 approved chemical and mineral filters to formulate with. And of course, many of the mineral filters are going to create an extreme white cast. Oh my gosh. White cast and many of the chemical filters, of course, have constant regulations in regards to environmental concerns. Oh my God. Okay, so HQ was able to create a formulation that felt like a K-beauty sunscreen, that had the glow, that had that non-greasy finish, but with FDA compliant filters and filters that are also deemed safe by various regulatory bodies worldwide as well. So we're looking at multiple different corners when we are formulating. So not only does this formulation have SPF 50, but it has additional skin benefits. You have hydration with now 11-layer hyaluronic acid. You also have birch sap, which stands alongside giant Byungkul in terms of history of use and benefits for the skin. At its core, it's very calming to the skin. And so many people can actually apply this sunscreen after they've already gotten a sunburn, because that birch sap is going to help bring in some of that reduction in inflammation. Lastly, we have this patented complex, this Lucient Mela complex. This is going to maintain some of your skin's radiance and elasticity. And so that's really a huge thing about Rimon, as you'll see as with these various products, is that there are multiple different corners we look at in terms of efficacy for each product. At their core, these are cleansers, hydrators, and a protector, but there's so much more than that when you really break down the ingredients. So Kelsey, thank you for doing that, and I appreciate y'all for listening. So we do have some time, and you always came all the way out here. So if anyone has questions, I'm open to answering any questions or anything like that. I just ask that we avoid any reaction questions, not because I don't want to answer them, but because I think it's really important that we look at them in more detail, that I understand the individual, what products they've been using, what their habits have been, So that's always something you can email me as well. But I'm gonna end the Zoom and then we can always get some questions going. Thankful. I've had the plague that.